guys in this Mitsubishi Magna Ralliart, and it has been quite some time I've been hunting, looking for one of these rare beasts to show off, because as you guys know, this thing was a pretty special car here in Australia, and they didn't make a whole lot of these things. Again, you know, it was something around 500 units made. This particular one, being a manual, it is even more rare. And yeah, on a road like this, it is really quite special to experience. And under the bonnet, guys, you know, again, the 3.5 liter V6. And, you know, look, it's naturally aspirated power here, but it was making 180 kilowatts, 333 newton meters. And back in the day, that was pretty damn healthy. And, you know, this particular one being the manual, the 5-speed, it does have a Quaife LSD up front wheel drive, but dude, it's still pretty fun to drive, I gotta say. You know, we're just getting into it. The exhaust sounds pretty damn good. This has upgraded Brembo brakes all around. Got some upgraded Anki wheels on here, though this did come with Anki wheels from factory, and Koni suspension as well. So, you know, they really did put some good bits on this. We got a Momo steering wheel. We got some sport seats in here. This one's got a sunroof. And for a Magna, I'll tell you what, on a windy road like this, it's carving it up pretty well. And let's remember, guys, this thing was only built in 2002. So it only came out for 1 year production. And, you know, look at the body kit on it. It was that auto saloon era, that sex spec kind of time in Australia. And Mitsubishi, they sort of wanted to try and hone in on that action. And I can really feel it, you know, from the red paint on this one. You got that massive wing on the back, and you know, big splitter up front. It definitely gives me those early 2000s vibes, which yeah. And on the interior, again, it's so plain in here, it's laughable, but it's exactly what you would expect from the time period. Guys, one thing that stands out with this car, let me just say, it's the ease of driving. It's actually really easy to drive this thing. Obviously, you know, we're only dealing with 180 kilowatts, but just in terms of the shifting, the throttle response, clutch pedal, it just seems to do everything well. Seating position's pretty good too. You're a bit high, but again, this thing is a Magna. You know, we're not in some high performance, as much as they tried to make it. You know, it's a hotted up Magna at the end of the day, but it just does everything pretty well, I gotta say. Obviously, a lot of people, they don't like front wheel drive. I don't really like front wheel drive, but in certain cars, it can work. Take, for example, the Ford Mark II Focus RS. One of my favorite hot hatches of all time, and it's front wheel drive. Quaife LSD up front as well. So, you know, they did have some good bits with this thing, and I gotta say, on this windy road, just, you know, having an enjoyable cruise, I would say right now. It really doesn't matter. You know, I don't feel any torque steer at the moment. The car just sort of goes where I want it. It feels pretty nice. And guys, again, this thing was competing, let's remember, with cars like the XU6, which we have featured previously on the channel, you know, the Tickford XR6 cars, and then you had the Magna. You know, it was interesting, to say the least. And these things weren't cheap back in the day. You know, 2002, we're talking 50 grand, which was a lot. You know, now, look, if you're lucky enough to find one, they seem to be asking around that 15, 20 grand mark, which, to be honest, I think is actually a really good price, because these cars are special, they're unique, they got history, and dude, I'll say, like, just with the very subtle mods on this, with an exhaust, some brake upgrades, you know, better rubber, it goes well on this back road, absolutely. Guys, I love driving this thing with, I don't know, it's not a close ratio gearbox or anything, but it just feels good shifting it. And it makes a great sound, this thing. Surprisingly enough, you think a Magna V6, it's not going to be great, but I think that's pretty good. And yeah, it just seems to handle well. Again, that Koni suspension, Ralliart, this thing was never rallied. Like, Mitsubishi never really entered this thing. It wasn't a homologation or anything, but it was just a cool car. And, obviously they put their branding on it. But I gotta say, somebody could rally this. They probably could, especially, tune it up a little bit more, man. This thing, she's not slow, especially for the time period. Guys, again, I always laugh because, somebody will be, oh, it's a Mitsubishi, that's JDM, that's not RDM. Bro, it was built here in South Australia, and it was only sold for the Australian New Zealand market. So, I'm not actually sure how many New Zealand got, probably a handful. But, again, the thing I've always loved about the Magna was that it was Aussie made. They were built here. And, honestly, I've always compared these almost to like an AU Falcon, because it's not uncommon to see these Magnas going around with 300,000-400,000 kilometers on them, still on the road, like an AU. And, when I sit in here, I actually instantly kind of think of TS50. Like, just the way the interior sort of looks, it makes me feel, obviously we're not in a Windsor V8 here, but it's definitely got that outlandish body kit. The interior feels very similar to me. And it was just, similar time period, that 2002. Now, obviously, the manual is the one you want to get, guys. And that's the rarer one. It's more engaging, fun to drive. It's got the LSD. You could have got this in a 5-speed auto as well. And look, technically, I believe that was the first 5-speed auto built in Australia, like for a production car here. And it was Tiptronic, and it was actually a pretty fancy gearbox for the time. It sort of adapt and learn as you drove, sort of like a ZF does. And, considering the time period, I might have to try one of those out now that now that we've read about that. Now, guys, remember, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit the big red subscribe button, click the bell notifications, leave a comment, like. It's how we travel around, meet the owners, see cars like this, and dude, this is one. I'm actually loving it right now. It's a rare car. She's built here in Australia, and from that beautiful time period of the early 2000s, dude. Just carving it up here in a Magna. It's unreal. Mitsubishi Magna Ralliart, guys. Who knew? Pretty awesome car, this. They did a really good job with this, actually. And it's a shame because if they had made a couple generations of this car, it could have been something quite spectacular, I think. And Mitsubishi, guys, I've been in some other really cool special Mitsubishis. I've done the Mitsubishi GTO, pretty much all the Evos, but they know how to make a good car when they want to. And, I wasn't sure about this Magna, but man, it's good. I'll say one thing. I don't think I'd be coming around as hot in a Commodore or a Falcon down this hill. Like this Magna just seems like it's planted pretty damn well. You got confident it's going around the corner, and I didn't expect that from a front-wheel drive. I'd definitely be going a lot easier in a Commodore or a Falcon. I'll just say that straight out the bag. Obviously, the Koni suspension definitely has some stuff to play with that, and especially having the upgraded brakes, I guess. But yeah, pretty impressive. Oh man, the roads out here in Queensland, guys, I tell you, there's something else. And yeah, this is quite the treat, I'll tell you what. And who'd have thunk a Magna from 2002 was going to be carving it up as well as it is right now. It's It's actually really impressive and almost laughable. I actually think this is hilarious and it's so cool. It's, yeah. Bring back cars like this, you know? It's just a laugh. They didn't take themselves overtly seriously, but, dude, they're just fun. And I gotta say, especially for the time period, this thing would have been breaking some hearts. All right, guys, so now we're gonna do the 0 to 100 powered by C-Tech. So this could be quite interesting. I think it was claimed at about 6.7. So yeah, we're just gonna come to a stop. We're gonna reset the draggy. Let's see how we go. Now guys, right there, we just did a 7.5, and look, clutch feels like it's slipping a little bit. Got 3 people in this car, and that's actually not bad. Like, I gotta say, it's actually not bad at all. So, yeah, this is a fun car to drive. I gotta say, like, I fully did not expect it to be sort of as fun as this thing is. It's got the fun looks as well. Love it or hate it, again, leave a comment down below. I love it. You know, I love that early 2000s era where people just, you know, went crazy and made it. It's out there, but man, it's got the goods too to drive. It sure does. All right, guys, now it's time for the WiperTech wiper test. We're gonna see what the Magna Ralliart does for its wipers. So we're gonna pull back on the stock here. We're gonna see what this thing does. Oh, some pretty mad jets, bro. Bit streaky though. Yeah, we need some WiperTech upgrades. Again, it's Ross 15 off. Click the link down below. Use my code 15% off, free express shipping, and get yourself a set of Australia's best wiper blades. But man, the interior of this thing, the feel, the drive, the look, it's different. It's a vibe. Man, I'm actually really into this car. Like, guys, on the camera. I kind of low-key want one of these things now. It's, yeah, I did not expect these would be as good as they are. I guess if I want to explain that a little bit too, you know, it's not a powerhouse car. It's not like we're in a cammed V8 or supercharged or 1,000 horsepower Barra. It's a different kind of drive, this car. You know, it's more of a, you know, you feel that connection in shifting. The handling feels nice. It's got a story, this car. It's a pretty fun daily, even if I'm being honest, I think. Like, these things, they're fairly reliable. And, man, I could rock one of these things. I could. Now, guys, look, we're going to finish the video off here today, but, yeah, the Mitsubishi Magna Ralliart. What do we think? I want to hear the comments down below. Leo, give me your stories about the Magnas you all grew up with. You know you've been in one before. Almost everyone has. Yeah, this thing, truly special to see, to get into today. And it actually really impressed me. This thing drives a lot better than a lot of people would think. And yeah, I got to give it credit. This thing's a pretty fun car to drive on a back road. And yeah, it's special, unique. It's a pretty cool car, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on that next one.